So we're at 1800 in our speedrun. I'm playing 5-minute games as well. So always 5 minutes, no increments. Let's jump into our first game of the day. Always nerve-wracking. Hey, Addidin. Good to see you, buddy. All right. Like I said, c4. Knight f6. And again, for the most part, my plan has been to get a fianchetto system. So my first couple moves, most of the time, are going to look like this. And then we'll see what he does. Okay, so c6. Very clear what the intentions are. Pawn to d5. Now, in these cases, I've kind of gone for I guess a pretty classic English setup, which is just pawn on d3. Instead of taking like this, I'm going to take with the queen. Now, if I play d4 there with c4, it could look a little bit more like a Catalan, but I kind of want to get these classic English positions, so that's why I've gone with this. Queen there does not look like a good move to me because maybe bishop e3 gains some time already. And also knight c3 a4 and knight d2 c4 both look like good moves. So I think I'm actually going to start with knight here, intending knight c4. I expect him to get developed, but instead we see this. Okay, knight c4. And again, knight here is not like it's not a really big threat, but it's there. It's looming, lurking. What I do want to play is e4. I know it looks funny to block the bishop, but e4, d4. e4, knight b4 right now does look a bit disturbing. So I'm going to play a3 and probably that move followed by that move. Keep hitting the queen, keep harassing the queen. Try to gain some time that way. So I'm expecting knight here. We'll go e4. We'll go bishop f4. I'm gaining time. I'm gaining time. Looks like a good start. I just didn't want to deal with that. So taking care of the square that I want to move to, and then going for this. Okay, so my opponent's gone here, which means I don't even need to play e4, at least to start. So I'm gonna take my tempo. I worked hard for that thing. Thank you very much. And in this position, strangely enough, I'm gonna play the move knight a5. So looking for another tempo and not exchanging pieces. I think he wants me to exchange the knights there. Instead, we're gonna put pressure here. Look at that queen. It's been moving like non-stop. So I have to be ahead on time. I'm gonna play probably rook c1 because I want to play b4. So rook c1, hey, semi-open file, one of the best places I can put my rook. The knight can go to d5, but I'll happily move my bishop back. This knight is moved like I don't even know how many times, right? So guards my knight as well. I was gonna play b4 as my next move. Control the c5 square. And this knight has a good future. Maybe knight b3, knight c5. Bishop h3, tempting as it might be for him, drops that b pawn. So, and my rook c1 move means if he plays b6, I'm taking on c6. So I feel like I'm kind of slowly getting him into a position where it's tough to move. After this, I'm looking at knight g5 because now I think I can get the bishop pair. So knight g5. And if you move the bishop, you got to choose a good square. Bishop g4. Take. Might get your bishop trapped. The only square is h5, g4. Okay, it's a little messy. Bishop f5, e4. Same thing with bishop g4. I could go e4, hit the knight, and then hit the bishop with h3. And you notice how that bishop doesn't have too many safe squares available. So this queen has moved a bunch of times. The knight has moved a bunch of times. That's why I've got all my pieces out. I've got pressure, threats. All my pieces seem to be activated. And this bishop is low-key a hero, guarding both knights. I know neither one is attacked, but It's good to have your pieces protected. Good practice. You just watched my no queen speedrun. Weird to see that thing on the board. Yeah, I was mentioning I have some speedruns on YouTube that you should all check out. One of them is a no queen speedrun. So I went and I saw how high, you know, can I get my rating basically by giving up my queen right at the start. And I think maybe I could have gone further, but I can't remember what we ended up at. 2100? Something like that. I think we ended up at 2100. All right, so knight here. Now I'm gonna snap this bishop off, bishop pair. And guess what? The queen can't take because of my pressure here. So now I see these weak pawns. I'm thinking, great, this is fantastic. I've accomplished a lot so far. I've got the bishop pair. Bishop h3 looks very tempting here. Think to start off, I am gonna go b4. Gets the pawn off that square. Maybe my queen can move. Also, just hammers down that pawn. Knight can journey to the c5 square. Okay, queen there. It's making me think of knight b3. Big time. So I'm gonna start with this. And knight b3 is really on my agenda here. So if he just plays a careless move, you know, rook d8 doesn't look that bad. Knight b3 might be pretty serious. Might be a big time move to deal with. General good practice. If you have the bishop pair playing against another bishop, just one of them, put your pawns on the same color as that bishop. So if I play e3, d4, that'd be pretty good here. What that will do is it'll render his bishop fairly useless, and it'll mean that my bishop controls all the other squares around it. So as long as I don't lose that, that'll be pretty effective. Okay, so he does play rook d8. I think it's a very fair move. I'm gonna try this. He can go knight a4. I'm just kind of curious if he's gonna play it. Knight a4, I would say, is the main move to stop what I'm up to, but he doesn't play it. Knight c5 happens, and guess what? Everything's forked. And once I end up on these squares, I'm going to be forking other stuff. Whether those two rooks or the queen and rook. Start by taking, I believe. Keep it real simple here. Take on c6 next. Now I'm up material. Knight for rook. I'm also up 2 pawns and probably winning a third here if I'm honest. And I am honest. Okay, double the rooks. Just checking that move. What can I say? I'm an honest guy. What to do here? I feel like bishop there is coming. I feel like it's happening. Let's go b5. I'm thinking about bishop a5. Just trying to put as much pressure on the position as I can. Hey, you don't have to ask me twice, buddy. You want to trade pieces? I'm all for it. I'll trade multiple pieces and looking to create a pass pawn here. Let's cut the king off so won't be able to encroach on my pawn here. And I'm hoping that this either past b pawn or past a pawn wins the game. Okay, just some small moves here. Let's just play king g2. I just want to see what he's up to. Bishop there, we'll play d4. Probably want to play d4 and e4, actually. King g2, just to see what you're up to move. It almost looks like he's waiting for me to make a move, you know? What if I just wait longer than you, buddy? Okay, I have lots of ways to push these pawns, but what if I just wait? It's actually working out really well. Pawn's hanging. Now that's hanging. Now that's hanging. trade first. Knights are tricky pieces, right? If we're in a time scramble, no need to be dealing with a knight. Don't need to be calculating all those jumps. Jump back in. We're gonna even get the white pieces. We're gonna face the most natural move against c4. And I'm happy we're seeing f5 because this should be a struggle. All right, so we'll wait and see. If he plays bishop here, I want e3. Judging by the fact that he's kind of waiting here, I do think he wants to get his bishop out on this diagonal. Otherwise, he might have done that already. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go e3. Bishop here, we can go knight e2. And one of the reasons why I'm not going knight f3 in this particular spot compared to maybe most of the English games you've seen me play so far is that e4 can actually be played straight away. And it's supported by the pawn. So there's no way I win the e-pawn or anything. So I am trying to stay away from that and play d4. Again, pretty hard to not play d4 here. It's a central pawn advance that hits the bishop. I mean, I'll take that all day. Let's castle. We're pinned. Let's get out of dodge. I mean, looks great for me so far. I've got the two bishops. Can't complain about my position. I don't really understand that move, I'll be honest with you. If I go d5, what I'm really enjoying, guys, I'll be honest with you, I'm enjoying the prospect of d5, d6. I'm looking at that bishop, and I'm just sad on its behalf. The bishop on c8 looks rancid right now. Knight c4 is unfortunately gonna drop a piece. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna keep that bishop locked in forever, but it's a good start, you know? At least I always know that I have the better pawn structure down the line, right? And this guy is gonna be huge, right? Even if he plays his d-pawn up, he can't move the bishop. The pawn is gonna be hit. So he's in a tough spot regardless. Let's bring the queen back to d4. Again, I'm picking a square that's probably the furthest from being harassed by either of those knights. d4 looks great. Pawn to b3, and then bishop b2 or a3 looks nice. I know bishop f4 is tempting here, so I'm looking at that one as well, but damn if I don't like my bishop on b2. You know? Bishop b2 and knight d5. Oof. How do you say no to that? And again, pressure on this pawn, I thought meant that he couldn't develop that bishop at all, so I'll go take it. Thank you. And instead of being greedy and taking this pawn, I don't recommend leaving your king wide open like that. I'm just gonna bring the bishop straight back. Doesn't look too impressive, but we just picked his pocket, got out. And the main reason I took this pawn is not because I want to be up a pawn. It's because I want to stop bishop c6. So now I'm gonna go bishop b2, knight d5. He's got to put his bishop on a kind of subpar square. We've got two easy moves next. Rook e1 to hit the bishop, rook d1 to hit the pawn, knight d5, mate threats on g7. And my opponent, despite being down a clear pawn, is offering a queen exchange. I mean, it's very hard not to accept it, because it just makes life so easy. Rook e1, basic move. I've got great pawn structure here. Oh, he didn't play it. We couldn't bait him in with bishop c4. We had knight a4 prepared. I thought there was a good chance he might play that, actually. Let's bring the rook down. I'm thinking knight d5. I'm also thinking knight a4, double the pawns there, of course. Okay, f4. Where's this guy going? Start with this. Hitting this, hitting this. I think it has to be taken. And then f4 should be a kind of a knockout blow. Bishop takes g7 mate. Oh, and that's a nice one. The bishops really did some damage there, guys. The lasers. That's a good way to put it. But again, this game was clean from the start. I always make this point, but when your opponent is going like this, I mean, first of all, always get out of the pin, so castle. But don't waste your time playing a3. If you've got a knight ready to take back, castle, ask your opponent to take you. Let's say he doesn't. Let's say he plays this, right? d6, all of a sudden white plays the move knight d5. Says, okay, you didn't take me. Okay, I'm gonna move out of the way. And see how this bishop just gets trapped here. All of a sudden the game's over. So if you're not going to take the knight after you get out of the pin, you're gonna be in big trouble. The worst thing would be to waste the move playing a3. I mean, the guy has to take you anyway. So just castle. Right? I've got the knights here for a reason. So he had to take. A6 was particularly bad. I think d5 and d6 is the best idea here. Looks crushing. Okay, it's time for c4 again. Same thing. Very familiar. Bring the bishop out. I like to start with this knight. Control the key squares. And after this, we have a threat, d5. So we're gonna make the threat of our own. Attack that pawn and stop d5 from happening. Okay, I'll play d3. Bishop here definitely got me thinking about h3. You don't need to play h3, but it's one of the first things I'm thinking about. Let's go h3. Find out where he wants to put that thing. h5, that's fine with me. Fine with me, buddy. Idea, b4, b5. Seems nice to try to help out there. Now takes, knight takes, or sorry, bishop takes here. Yeah, I'm gonna just toss that bishop away. I know it doesn't look like I care about it that much. And you're right, I don't. Giving away my dark square bishop because I'm trying to focus on the light squares here. Like all those ones. Why d3 there? How to know that? Well, I've been doing this speedrun since 800, so we've seen this position before. If you guys have been watching since a while ago, I don't think it'll be too surprising. If e4, we can always take. I'm trying to get him to play this, right? Because then all those light squares and this diagonal opens up. So I'm trying to improve this bishop by pushing this pawn. This is another standard plan I've pretty much gone for most times that I've played this. Again, nice move, nice move. If I play queen c2, sometimes you can get d5 in anyway, so have to be a little careful of that. I think I'm gonna play knight d2. This pawn is a little tender. I don't really want to play g4. But these squares are very well covered. Again, e4 can always take. probably want to get rid of this knight here. Knight takes d3, it should be noted, is a move. Let's play queen c2. Rook e1 is a good move to have next. Hello, Rainbow. Hot streamer, heart at chessbrah. Wow. Definitive statement. He's not saying it's his opinion. He's saying it's the general opinion of the public. Hot streamer, it's been decided. Now, I'm extremely happy to see this move. C takes b5. I've got the d5 square for my knight. It's gonna drop back like that. Knight takes here. Queen slides over. I don't really love the knight there. I feel like it should be a different piece. But if we bring the knight anywhere, we have to reckon with bishop takes e2. So I'll probably just capture this back for now. Rook takes. I've got the d5 square for later, right? We know that. Rook e1 I want to do to defend this pawn. I think this is going to be a very grindy game. I'm liking this. Take with the light square bishop. And then that opens up an idea of maybe g4, bishop here, and perhaps taking. The long-term goal, what I'd like, is to have this bishop against this knight. It's fantastic, right? I'm just sinking into the light square holes in the middle of the position. All good things. But everything that I've been doing this game, almost every move, has been about these light squares. I'm definitely looking at that, that's for sure. Don't think it completely works. But I think I still want to do this. A lot of light square pawns, so I have to have a real plan here. But I'm trying to go here next. Bishop here after bishop there. I want to trade light square bishops. This should be the absolute main plan when you're facing the bishop pair. Get rid of their bishop that's on the same color as yours. I have a nice option here. Pawn takes with knight d5, or knight takes, bring it back, and put the knight on d5. Which one do I like? Well, I actually kind of like this. Gives me a better grip on these squares. I have e3 to control the ones behind it. a4 we can put out there to watch over the b5 square. I suppose it would have been nicer maybe to play knight d5 and rook b6 there, but... Okay, wants to play this. I think we can deny that with rook b1. But I'm thinking about this. Yeah, no, let's just go rook b1. Pressure everywhere there. The one thing is I don't generally want to play knight takes bishop here, so I want my knight on that square, but it's mainly just to sit on that square, nothing more. Preventing the queen from sliding across. I think queen here will actually win some material for me, which is why I'm playing it. I don't like that pawn, but my knight's going to sink into d5. So if he takes, I don't really see how you can defend that. Rook here, we'll get our knight in, and then we also have rook takes a6. So he plays a pretty good move, I would say. Kind of annoyed by that. Queen there. Meh. All right, we're going to have to play this. Very strong move there. Let's get our knight in. We do have a pawn sort of waiting for us in the wind here, but it's not the cleanest. We're going to even up the material in a sec, but queen d4 was a fantastic move by my opponent. So this, although it might look bad, it's actually not that scary. Oh, we gotta get the speed up. Okay. 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 Didn't realize it was time. Didn't realize it was time. Okay. Just let me know earlier next time and I can do a bit of a better job. Sorry about that. Didn't realize it was time to speed up. So potentially, this game right here will bring us to 1850, the halfway point for this rating bracket. We see e5. We've been here before. Yeah, when I see the bishop there, I know I'm pretty much going e3, right? Because I want to play d4 eventually. But without f5, I'm more comfortable playing the move knight f3. e6, e3. Okay, so this is good. He's playing basically a main line so far. I can play d4 or I can castle. Usually, I want to start with castle here because if I play d4, there's bishop b4 and maybe bishop takes on c3. So I want to do this so that after d4, plain and simple, bishop b4 doesn't actually pin the knight. And important move here. This is the first time, by the way, that we've really progressed in this line. Nobody has really played this much. I would still call it theory. Important move here, I believe, is h3. The last thing I want is him to go here, take my knight, and just simply win this pawn. So I do not like the pressure that gets created by bishop g4, which is why I've just gone and played the move that I have. h3. Looks like he might want to do queen c8, but that move really doesn't affect me. We'll just go king h2. Bishop here. And giving up the bishop now is not really as good as it was. So the question is, where do we want to put our pieces? b3, bishop b2 looks nice. Rook e1 as a basic move looks good as well. I'm almost looking at queen d3, but I feel like this and this is a pretty likely series of moves. So I'll start with rook e1, maybe a move that I think will always be good for me. h6, it's a good move as well. Not allowing bishop g5. Let's go maybe here. Yeah, we know we have to have that king h2 move ready. Okay, b5 is being indicated here. Now what I'm seeing is a possibility to play d5. This f pawn would be loose after that, so I'm not sure, but I think we could get something like that to work. Bishop b2, of course, is a good move. Bishop b2 is always playable, and if I really want to deal with what he's up to, a4. I don't think a4 is crazy either. Yeah, so I'm kind of leaning towards a4. Just looks like it eliminates what he's up to. I think we'll take that. Bishop b2. Probably queen d2. That is a... That's a brave move. That is a brave move, guys. Takes and 95. This guy has no fear. Impressive. Impressive. There's also knight d5, so it's worth considering everything, but yeah, that's... I mean, he's like barely surviving. Queen f5 there. I don't know. That seems a little fortunate to me, you know? Queen f5, just kind of hanging on. g4, queen f4 check. But okay. We see the bishop pair, we'll take the bishop pair, I guess. d5 and f4 looks kind of attractive here. Maybe f4 straight away as well. What do we want to do? Queen d2. It really doesn't feel good to open that bishop up, but we will have to do that move eventually. It will have to happen, guys. Whether we like it or not. Bishop here. Yeah. Trying to get rook here. He's giving up b7 temporarily. I think we might leave it for the moment. Gets a little bit, I don't know, messy. That's one way to put it. Open up the bishop. I want to say take to imbalance things. And then maybe here. I don't really want to allow bishop there. Just out of principle. And f4 is such a great move against that knight. It's like perfect. New b4, b5 we can try. I think b5. Kind of hard not to play b5. Here, h4. And I know it doesn't look very safe, but I think the king is relatively safe on h3. It's gonna be a queen, that's gonna be mate. I think he wanted to go here and mate me, but he's actually getting mated in 1 if he does that, so I don't think it's gonna work. g6, queen, king g7, bishop c3 is also fairly easy for me too. Queen c5, queen d8, and I make a queen. And you'll notice this queen also covers f5, so quite effective, honestly. Check. Can always drop back as well. Knight's being hit. Pretty uncomfortable. I mean, I'm up a full queen, so shouldn't be too hard. H4, check, check. bring the queen back to a light square so we can pre-move easily. I suppose we can take and go queen e6. Oh. He's making our job a little bit easier. But yeah, opposite bishops is the worst kind of position to try to flag, because it's like impossible to stalemate if it's impossible to stalemate if you have a bishop. So I just operate on the other color square. Like, I'll just do everything on the light squares, and if I put him in stalemate, he still has the bishop to move all the time. Good game. Good game. It really was. I thought he played really well. I gave this guy basically the most credit in the speed run because he played the line the way it's actually supposed to be played. Right? This is the actual line. King h2, rook b8. I think d5 was the way to go, but we did a4, which I thought was all right. But it just allows him to get so many trades in. Knight e4 was very suspicious by him, but somehow he made it work, huh? Yeah, it was a good game by me, I'm not gonna lie. Like, getting f4, bishop pair. I don't think I could have improved on many of the moves, but still. Without his knight e4 move, he played a pretty good game. He played a bunch of theory. Like, I would say most of what he's doing is all part of the main plans for black. Maybe rook b8's a little slow. Maybe his queen c8 plan's not fantastic, but you know, if I'm ever pushing this, I'm opening up that bishop, which doesn't feel great. Let's go with the white pieces. c4. Right, we're getting used to this move, aren't we? Knight c3. And again, e3 and knight f3 is what I want to do. I'm holding off on knight f3 because I'm not sure if that pawn's going to be here or on f7. If my opponent played knight here, I'd probably play knight there. Because he's played this, if I go knight here, I'm maybe thinking, oh, f5, e4 is coming. So I'm going to start with this. Tabar Jack, I have seen the hippo against my opening a number of times. Yeah, I have. Okay, so we're seeing a bit of a different line. Bishop to g4. I'm definitely going to start with h3 against this. Okay, now I think g4 is almost mandatory. e4 is something to be careful of here. Yeah, I think this move is pretty good. G4 and then D4, just to make the best impression. There might be some moves over here, Queen B3, Queen A4, but I kind of like this. Gains the most time. Just feels like I'm doing everything with tempo. Just nice feeling. And it means we can get castled next. I'm thinking we want to just castle. There are moves like d5, and it looks like it might win a bishop, but black will throw in the move bishop c3 check before that happens. So I mentioned earlier that, you know, if you don't take a knight once it's not pinned anymore, the knight will most likely move to his, like, if black plays bishop g4 and pins my knight, and I move my queen, my next move is probably knight e5 if I can, to hit your bishop. Same thing here, knight d5 I want to play, so. think you got to be careful of allowing that stuff. I'm thinking knight h4 here. Exclamation mark speedrun there, Nimzo. Should help you out a little bit. Again, doesn't take. I'm feeling decent about knight d5 or even just knight e2. Point is, I'm threatening a3, b4 after that. But my main threat here is simply to take and take, so I feel like he's gotta grab this. And he does. Now, if he castles, I'm looking at takes, g5 to win this pawn, and maybe I don't even take it right away. Start with queen g4 to make sure my g-pawn is guarded. Rook b1 is also a nice move. Doesn't look like much, but just throwing that rook there, it's an open file. It will help me maybe play rook b5 in the future, put some pressure on this. Black has to react if he plays b6. All of a sudden there's ideas with queen a4. All of a sudden there's ideas with f3. And that diagonal gets really weak. Now he played this, it looks strange. It looks strange, but his idea is that I can't play g5 and I can't win this pawn. First things first, what did I just say? Just put the pressure. It looks like nothing. It looks so easy for him to defend, but just make that threat. You never know what's gonna happen. Might work out really well for you. Okay, knight a5, he's done. I'm not concerned about that because queen a4 wins the piece back. If queen a4 check now, then c6. He's watching that knight. Rook b5, there's c6. But you know what I am thinking about? I'm thinking if I take and go queen here to win this pawn, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's my opponent gonna do about that? And by the way, the reason I'm taking is I don't like bishop h7. And my knight looks stupid on h4. So I'll start with this, and I'll say, okay, what are we doing here? Because now if queen e7 to guard the pawn, which looks normal, he's forgetting that queen a4 check wins the knight, right? So I've got him, and it's all because of this move rook b1. And this is gonna win me a piece now. Queen a4, the knight's hit, there's no c6 because the queen's not there anymore. And then we have d5. But that's all because of rook b1. This is just a tiny, tiny move. The rook b1 really confused him. If he plays rook b8, all of a sudden he doesn't have long castle as an option. You know, you just want to give him things to worry about. Okay, well, we know we need to take. That's a free piece. I've earned it. Rook b7 looks like a great next move, to the point where I'll definitely start with it because I know if I can take this, the game's over. So he has to defend it. My next move's almost for sure going to be g5. Hit the knight, and the e-pawn should fall here. Yeah, my position is so good, I actually have time to play this. Guard this pawn and make sure we win this for free. He's kind of he's bleeding material at every juncture here. We're gonna make sure to win a full rook. Not just a rook for a bishop, but a full rook. You know, I noticed something about this king. Every single one of my pieces was actually stopping the king. That's just mate. That's the kind of checkmate you might play by accident. Rook e1 check. Wait, rook e1 mate, I mean. Okay. c4. No surprise, as the ratings get higher, we see more and more of this. Almost a guarantee. Now that move, we always attack the pawn. We can't let him play d5 for free. And hey, I don't think anyone's ever played this against us, so we're getting some theory here. Oxclay hacks, I think in that line I can play queen takes b5. I can also play queen takes d1. I think a bunch of things will work there. Okay, this doesn't look bad at all. I'll take it, I'll take it. Taking here already makes a good impression. Because I'm looking at queen c2 and thinking, okay, this is a little awkward for him, right? If queen e7, then b4. If queen b6, then I was thinking knight here simply threatens knight a4, and I'm gaining time. b4 now, there's bishop d4. I was still considering it, but bishop d4. Because if queen takes, queen a3, or bishop a3 still wins. But knight here, easy threat. Again, it's just not easy for him to get castled here. I'm gonna try to keep pouring on the pressure. e4 is a strong idea as well. Yeah, okay, so knight here is such a strong idea. I think he needs to move the bishop. Let's say he goes bishop e7. Then I have a couple options. e4 looks fantastic. Bishop e3 gains time. Knight a4 gains time. You're new to chess and you don't understand why you can't put your own king in check. The same reason, you know, that they often have the setting friendly fire turned off. It could be used against it. Imagine the rook on your team was trying to sabotage the game. As soon as you castle, the rook would just take the king. You can't be held back by your teammates in chess. Bishop d6, so he did the right thing, I think, which is retreat, right? Bishop d6, bishop e7, one of those moves. Now, I think it's time for e4 here. Looks really strong because if d4, I can play knight a4, and I think he's in big trouble here, guys. My next move is pawn here, and with rook e1 and c6 hanging, I think this is a guaranteed dub. Yeah, so although this looks to win a bishop, I don't think it's quite gonna do that. Here, black can castle and hit my bishop, so it'll be a good position for me. It'll be winning, but I don't think it'll be completely game over. I'll only be up the exchange. I wish I'd be up more than that. So, I go here, castle, bishop moves, you know, it's good for me, but maybe not so special. So I'm actually gonna start with b3. If he moves the bishop, surprisingly, what I was actually thinking of doing here is I was thinking of playing the ultra annoying bishop a3. Now he can't castle. Previously, if I played rook e1, he castles. I take a bishop, he takes a bishop. I don't really think, I mean, that's good, but it's not completely winning. I feel like this is just ultra frustrating. Now I think he's losing material. Now we play h3. Okay, the knight has to go somewhere. And then just rook e1 and you're dead. Bishop a3 is such a frustrating move. f6, f4, of course. And now he doesn't have a move to get his king out of the pin while hitting my bishop. So that's why I can at least get, you know, a few extra things for my troubles. Check. So I'm not losing my bishop. I think we can just keep pushing. Again, this looks like a whole lot of no threats. Yeah, it's a tough position to come back from. I can even just sack the rook, bring the other one. I'll be up at least a full rook here, which is completely winning. Here we go. Let's see what we can do with the English. Main line, symmetrical. Gonna stick with our fianchetto here. d5, happy to oblige. This looks familiar. All right, nice. We're gonna get a fun game here. So I kind of want to target that guy. Bishop e3. We'll see if he knows what he's doing. So far, he's played a good game. Good opening. But, you know, there's some pressure arriving to that c-pawn. Perhaps b4. B6 is the next move. But if we go here to attack the pawn, B6, B4, what happens? What happens then? Because I'm seeing this and this, and I'm seeing a loose knight on c6. Takes. I don't mind knight takes e3. Sometimes you even want to allow that on purpose. But in this case, I think we do it and we just take on c5 at the end. Just some pressure on that c-pawn. He couldn't quite deal with all the stuff I had lined up there. That could be a good move. No, I'll keep taking. I'll keep taking. Sure. I see bishop takes b6 as a possibility because I'm still looking at tactics involving the knight on c6. So yeah, I'm looking at this. Seeing rook takes c6. Again, with the knight f6 discovered check. So we're threatening the knight, and we might lose this pawn. I'm sure we will. But we've got one extra pawn here. So it's something. It's something. Queen here, I don't like that, there's knight b4 threat after, so I might just move the rook back, perhaps to c2. And the bottom line is we're threatening knight c5 here, so no matter how he takes this, knight c5 takes. We'll each have a bishop. I'll be up a single pawn. Hey, it ain't much, but it's an honest pawn. Do we want to do this? Or perhaps even queen c1 is an interesting move. For some reason, I kind of like queen c1. Hit the rook and intend knight c5 once again. We still have this pawn structure, I haven't committed anything, so that's why I don't appear to have many weaknesses. And I've got that one extra pawn, just barely, which I've been holding on to. Dr. Lord Mayonnaise, I know you're not here for the chess. So I feel like if you're taking notes, don't commit and avoid weaknesses. That could be maybe blown out of context, eh? I'm concerned. Just want the best for you. I love that move. I really do. I think that's a good one. Here, bishop back. not the most clear. We don't want to take that. Problem is we don't have much time. So we'll go here. I don't think we have time to prosecute this advantage. But we'll try to trade some pieces. That always helps, right? Just simplify. I want to be careful that that doesn't all of a sudden win the game. Well, I'll just go here and keep it simple. Maybe there's a nicer move there, but I'm very surprised that he decided to lose the game. Very surprised. What the hell was that? Walked into a pin. That was strange. I'm waiting for him to put his king somewhere that I can or force offside. There we go. Now I can, you know, just take everything, drop the bishop somewhere. Literally perfect technique is move the bishop out of the way, move your king there so that it blocks the bishop's diagonal, so you're not even close to worried about a draw, and then execute your good technique of showing the ladder mate. But yeah, ideal bullet technique. Not only move the bishop out of the way, but block the bishop's diagonal. So you're not even, there's no inkling of a stalemate. It can't even possibly be there.